Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Klingberg Wing Mark II development. I'm Raul Klingberg, your host. That's me you see sitting in the pilot's cage of my wing on the lake bed at El Mirage, California. This is a long-awaited video, especially in my mind, of successful flight tests of the wing. Apparently I've succeeded in solving the flow problems over the wing, and the control system is working well. And we had two very good flight tests and a taxi test, and that's what these videos are about. You're going to see three segments here today. This first segment is a taxi test. We decided to repeat the taxi test because there have been significant changes to the landing gear and other components, so it's always a good idea to go back and repeat. So we're going to tow it up to 20 miles an hour, and I'm going to check the steering and see if I can lift the nose a little, see how that goes, and just make sure that I have good positive roll control on the glider. And I won't find out about the pitch control until I have it off the ground. So at this point, let's take a look at that taxi test. Go 20. So here we are in the middle of the run. In a moment here, you'll see the elevator come up. There it is. I'm trying to lift the nose off the ground, but don't have quite enough speed to do that. So put the elevators back down and just continue to roll and call for them to stop. We roll to stop. Everything's nice. Wings were very easy to control and roll throughout the run, and very easy to steer. It's about the smoothest taxi test we've had out of all of them. Okay. I'm terminating the call. Are we going to go from here, or are we going to go push back?
We're gonna talk to you for a minute and decide.
Okay. So when slack went in the line and it came back on the ground, it popped the release.
What? No. The release is done.
I thought I had seen it pop. Sorry.
It's not done.
Okay. But we are wrapped around stuff. Okay, that's okay.
Let's go back with it a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so I used my fancy brakes with my gloves, you know, I just grabbed it.
Nice.
Now, so the initial roll was fine. Steering was not too sensitive. It's working good. Roll was quite sensitive. When we started out, I was here. And I moved my hand down here, and I still had plenty of roll control right here on the short grip. I did try raising the nose, and I went to full up. I went to this much elevator, and the nose didn't even appear to get lighter.
Yeah.
You know, and it was right at that point that you guys started slowing up. So then,
So we go to 30.
So the main thing that I learned on that run was that the control stick is a little too long, and gave me a little too much authority, and I was getting very light feedback on the stick. So in the middle of that run, I had shifted my hand from the top of the control stick to the bottom, and for the remainder of the test runs we made, I kept my hand as low on the stick as I could. So we'll be shortening up that stick in the shop. And let's see, what else did I learn? That was pretty much most of it, other than it was handling well, and I felt that we were ready to go forward to the first real flight test. And then we're going to have a short discussion here about how fast to go. We talked about going 30, which we had done in the past, and we made the decision to go 35 just to give some margin above stall speed. And that happened to be a fortuitous decision because the glider tended to lift off and land at 28 miles an hour, so it gave us sufficient margin for maneuvering. And on this flight, if you watch the left screen, you'll get a good view of the pitchiness up and down. I experienced some significant PIO. The glider was extremely sensitive to elevon deflections. So for the day, we decreased the elevon throws, and going forward, I'll be reducing the span of the elevons a little bit at the root end. That'll give me good aileron control and not quite so much elevator command. I'm hoping that by shortening the span at the root end, it'll have a bigger impact on the elevator than the aileron. But watch this pitchiness. It was pretty spooky at the time, and from my view, looking straight forward, and I see sky, ground, sky, ground, sky, ground. It was pretty exciting, but fast hands, and we kept her flying. So let's get ready for that flight here. So the plan here is what we talked about last night, right? We go 35. I try to lift it off the ground and fly straight at level. And I know I don't have to hold the stick any higher than like this. That is plenty. The ailerons are very nicely sensitive. I mean, they fly nice.
Hey, John. Not too bad. So that's they had us pay like it was like $1,000 fee.
How far did we roll?
For a year.
It looks like 1,000 feet.
1,000 feet.
But that's about all I really can tell you for sure.
So
It looked like you had good
300 yards.
control from my perspective.
Oh, I was very precise.
magic
I
words
was
were
tracking
recasting
guys
from
very
yeah.
carefully. I did play with the ailerons a little bit, you know, just to get them in a bag, yeah, and that was all fine. And that's when I decided I thought I'd see if the nose wheel was light.
Yeah.
You know, I knew it wouldn't lift off. But the nose, it didn't even. It starts bouncing differently on the lake bed when it's light.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
So we're going to see a quick acceleration here up to 35 miles an hour, and right after I take off, you'll see the pitchiness start. The glider, I didn't command the takeoff. The glider took off on its own at 28 miles an hour because of how we had the incidence set on the ground. We need to reduce that a little. And I'm up, and there we go. And you see the elevon going up and down as I'm trying to catch up with the pitch, and I quickly pull the release. Once I was off toe and slowed up a little bit, I was getting the oscillations damped out slightly. But for a short period of time, that was pretty surprising and challenging. I wouldn't say that it spooked me, but it made me very cautious going forward. So here we are getting, it's maybe an hour and a half later, we're getting set up for another run. And it's late in the day, so it's perfect. It's calm. We kind of waited for the thermals to disappear, and we reduced the elevon throw by about 25%. And I was a bit concerned that I would not have enough aileron control, that we'd fix the elevator problem and then not have enough aileron, but turned out still had enough aileron. So I think really this is a case of the elevon is just too big in span, and it's having a strong drive on the elevator function, and removing a little bit of the elevon at the root end will considerably damp down the elevator function without having too severe of an impact on the aileron function, because there's not that much moment arm for aileron function at the root end of the elevon. So here we go, another fast acceleration. I had to weave around a couple of potholes on the way out, and once again the glider will take off on its own right at about 28 miles an hour, and we're up. And you see this flight is much more smooth. There's a little bit of pitchiness, not too bad, and then when I release, there's some pitchiness because the trims change when I'm not being pulled by the nose, but still a nice smooth glide. And I flared a little too soon or inappropriately, and the landing was firm. I didn't slam it into the ground, but it was a firm landing, and I think it's just a matter of getting to know the aircraft and when to flare it. It's got quite a flat glide on it, of course, as expected, so I'd flared a little too soon. I could have waited longer and then just eased into the flare. And we use that fancy brake there, my left hand, and a very successful flight. So here we are set up for, here we are from the other view. There was a camera mounted under the wing on the right-hand side, and you may have already seen. Okay, just use the speedometer. Yeah, I know. Okay, go 35. All right, 35, here we go. Have a good one. Thank you. And we're off. You'll notice here as I reach takeoff speed that the right main wheel actually lifts first, and then the left main, and then finally the nose wheel, which really indicates that the incidence on the wing was set too high on the ground. The wing actually wanted to trim at a lower angle of attack. But here you see I was able to climb it up to about 10 feet or so, maybe a little more than that, and hold her nice and steady at that altitude. Hit the release, do a nice little glide, a little bit of pitchiness, and there we go, touchdown. Do I get 2 landings out of that one? I don't know. And we roll to a nice stop. So really a perfect flight in my mind. Considering it's only number 2, I've been in the air lots of times, but I don't really count them as flights because a lot of them did not have regular smooth landings to them. And I wasn't really the pilot. I was more of a spectator on those old flights. So these are the first 2 real flights, and thrilled with it. It's going to be very interesting going forward. Got some modifications to make. I'm about ready to put in an order for the parachute system and begin making modifications. It'll probably be about 3 months before the glider's ready to go out again. The lake might be wet by then, and we'd have to wait till spring unless we find some other place to go fly it. At this point, I feel comfortable enough that if we just took it to an uncontrolled airport, that I can steer and fly straight enough that we could stay over the runway. So that could be a workable solution also. So I, once again, to all my patrons out there, thank you, thank you, thank you. Your unwavering support really has made this project possible, and it's been a long, long road. Solved some really difficult aerodynamic problems, and I think we have a lot of fantastic flights to look forward to. And I hope you stick around to see those. I think it's going to be a fantastic time. So, as I always say, fly safe and bye for now.
I like that.
We learned a lot.
Yep.
I have more to learn later.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's a wise decision.
I can go home with my candy bag full.